the manager, the mentor, and most important, a role model to show our boys what it was like, not only to play on the field, but how to act off the field. Okay, there was a lot of instances, I being one of the originals, Adam being one of the originals, Shari being one of the originals. There was a lot of incidents that we had. Coach Tony always kept it under control. All right, and dealing with boys, testosterone and everything as they get older, it's very difficult. But he was able to always keep it as a nice demeanor. As we go forward tonight, everybody's going to go off into their own little worlds. I have a little world myself. We all got big families and other things that we're going to be involved in. Colleges, moving on to possibly moving away. I would try to reach out to everybody and say, we always use the word family, Celtic family. If we can, in today's society, we can keep in contact with Twitter, Facebook, so forth and so on, which I have nothing to do with any of that. So, if I don't keep in contact with you,
on your flip phone?
Exactly. If I don't keep in contact with you, it's not because I don't like you. I'm not that educated like I brought up in the beginning. Okay. Third, Tony always found time for his players outside of the Celtic family. What I mean by that is, you'd be at a game, in your high school game, and somebody would turn around and say, who's this guy in the suit? Oh, what is my coach doing here? Coach Tony would find time to hit certain games, high school games, pop in and out. He would come to a practice in a full suit and tie from the city and change in his car. Now, it's not the most glorifying sight you've ever seen, okay? And for those of you who've seen things, we'll leave it at that. But he always made sure he was there, okay? He always reached out and had good training. Well, we didn't get to that yet. Leave it to the Jewish guy. So, as we move on, he always had great trainers. Trainer JJ, Rodrigo, a couple of other trainers like Coach Wayne, who's moved on to other things, and a lot of good trainers over time. But Coach Tony always made sure he ran the program the right way. And if another organization or another program heard the Celtics had an opening, they wanted to come and run to play for them. I can attest to that. Okay, also, Tony always did a great job setting up the hotels. We never had to make a phone call and say, this is Don Bruno, this is my credit card. Coach Tony would always block out rooms, set you up, and all you had to do is give your credit card. Sometimes people couldn't even do that, but I got to be honest with you, Coach Tony always made it easy. You never had to worry about where we were going, what we were doing. It was already done in advance. EDP schedules, whatever had to be done. Remember, the bottom line is, there is no pay in this. This is the love of the game, and he has the love of the game. That's the reason why he did it. There isn't no high-paying job. There's no money at all. It's the satisfaction of doing what he does and loves it so much. I'd like to give a little history on the Celtics, if I may, for a moment. It started out with 10 players. Coach Tony gave me a phone call right down here in the basement. I was a rec coach, and luckily I made it to that because that's as good as I was. And Tony reached out to me and said, I want to start the travel team. I have 10 players. I'd like Christian to play, and I want to get another player because we need 11 to play. Again, me being a person that doesn't know too much about soccer, what he meant was it's 8v8, we need a couple of subs. Somewhere along the line, Coach Tony was driving around, and correct me if I'm wrong, he found this young man named Patricio kicking a soccer ball down in the rec center. He pulled over and said, do you like to play soccer? And that's how we got our 11th player, and that was the beginning of the Celtic family. We started our first scrimmage game, and correct me if I'm wrong, down in Toms River. We ended up winning 3-2. It wasn't so much that we won the game. It was so much that you can see that we were starting a foundation that would go on to produce where we are today. All I can say is, being one of the originals, I've had a great time. And I mentioned this last year when Michael, Christian, and John Riggs had moved on to college. It's not the end of the Celtic family, it's the beginning of a new chapter in the family of the Celtics moving forward. Tonight, we have a few things as a group, we came together and we got Coach Tony a gift card from the Celtic family. And Coach Rodrigo, I'm not sure if he's chasing around the little guy, but everybody appreciates everything.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also, we have here a DVD of all the boys saying a little something to Coach Tony. Now, the boys asked me, and I respect it, that's why I bring it to everybody's attention, if they could watch the DVD with Coach Tony. And then if they feel it's not embarrassing, which I already saw it, it's not, they would like to then have the parents come in and also watch it. I gave them as young men the option. If that's what they want to do, they could watch it with Coach Tony and Coach Rodrigo. And then afterwards, they can invite everybody else in to watch it. In closing, I'm going to switch over the floor to Coach Tony because I know Coach Tony might have a few things to say and have a few things to add on. But let's get a round of applause for Coach Tony and Rodrigo.
So if I slur, it is absolutely the beer. Listen, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. It doesn't take one person, it takes a family. It takes the start of a foundation of guys like Dom and Adam who really started that and built it around that and really gave me a lot of support to start with. And I'll tell you a quick story. Just when we started, there was a really good team the year before. It dissipated, and I'll tell you what happened. I was kind of hiding in the shadows for a couple of years. Maybe I was toiling around the wreck a little bit, and my wife Mary said to me, you know, I think it's about time that you step up, right? And when we found out that the team had folded from the previous year, I asked what was going on with the travel tryouts, and somebody said, there's not a coach. There's 7 postcards with 7 names on it, and on the back there's an 8th name. And we need to figure out what to do with that. So I called up Brian Grimm, who was the head of travel at the time, and I said, look, I'll take it. Can we start it? He said, oh, sure. Pick up the cards in my mailbox. You got the job. So we started that. We picked up a couple players, Aiden being the 9th, Patricio being the 10th, and Joe Perez being the 11th, okay? So Kevin Volkov and Joe Perez. So that's how it started. We were a B team at best, probably. I asked the parents to give us some time. If the boys are committed and the parents are committed and they believe in what you're doing, then you know it's not a sprint, it's an absolute long-term marathon. Technical development being the first one, and then after that is really tactical and approach, right? So if you don't have the technique, you can't play the game. And then eventually when you have the technique, you need to have the attitude, the approach, and the commitment. So that's what we've seen from the Celtic players all along. There's been some transitional times during the time. We've never gone out and recruited a single player. And whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. All I know is that we put a box around the program. This is what we're doing. And over time, people came. So there were a couple transitional points where the team grew. And as they grew, guys like who we were waiting for, like Pio and Joan, when they came to the program, it elevated it. Then we had other guys come in like Joe Stolt, again, elevated it. Then the next few years we had guys like Jake and Gino, again, the next progression of that. And bringing that to the level. We made a decision probably 3 years into the program or 4, who do we want to be? Do we really just want to stay together? Or do we want to get better? I think the consensus is we want it to be better. But with that, unfortunately, that comes, some people want to move in different directions, and you can completely understand it. But all along, all the families that joined in the program. It wasn't the player. It was the commitment from guys like Joe Stoll Sr., from Joe Shiano. You know, it's the same thing. All these guys, Junan, same thing. Everybody committed to the program. What are we doing? Where do we want to be and where do we want to go? And that, I can't thank you enough. The time, the commitment, that's not just on me. That's on every family here. And, you know, including my own and the sacrifices that we made, and my wife and my kids, they knew it was my passion. And I happened to have great mentors as I was growing up. guys that showed me the way, took me everywhere, did things for me, and that was really just a repay. And it really was, and nothing more than that. Took me to tryouts, took me to places around the country where I could never go to. And the love of the game is something that I have. I don't know that I'll ever lose that. But as you move on to college, whether you're playing or not, that those lessons you want to take with you. Remember, it's a commitment. It's the hard work in everything you do. It's not just soccer. It's about your academics. It's about how you work and how you get along with others. That's really the most important thing in my eyes. And hopefully, Coach Rodrigo and I have been able to do that solidly for the last 3 years. And we have a great time. We joke, we kid, we give you a lot. We have a great rapport with each other. And Coach Rodrigo coming into the program the last 3 years has been fantastic. We didn't hit it off right away. I think there were some reservations. He said, I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is. I asked him. He was a friend of my brother's. Can you come in? Can you help us out? And he said, sure. And then, I don't know, one game, it just happened. We were on the sidelines together, and we just realized it was working. It didn't matter. What he was doing, I'm behind. What I was doing, he was behind. And when we didn't feel we were together, we got together and figured it out. And to have a guy with that kind of experience on the sidelines has been just fantastic. Really, I can't thank him enough. Big hand for Coach Rodrigo. So prior to Coach Rodrigo, we had, as I said, we had those transitional phases through the program. And as guys, like I said, guys came up from the B team when they folded, and they were A-team players many years before they came to us. So make no mistake, guys like Joanne and Pio. There was this Irish guy I found at the rec. I don't know. I just heard his accent, and I was like, wow, all these English coaches, and I found an Irish guy. And his name is JJ Devaney. Big hand for JJ. and he had a commitment to UK Elite, but somehow we persuaded him to give us a little bit more. I don't know. I just felt like at the time of the transition phase, we needed somebody to be more integral to the program, and JJ really stepped up big for us and did that for a number of years. Then took a summer program where I think some of the new guys even came in and really took to JJ. Unfortunately, he had to leave us, and then now he's back here permanently. But those years were critical to how we moved forward, and it started with JJ. Transition for a year for Wayne, and then Rodrigo picked it up. And I can't thank JJ enough, really. JJ, thank you very much for everything. But lastly, I really want to thank you all. I don't know what I'll do next year. This has been really my passion every day of the week. I think I start my day at my desk, thinking about what I'm going to do for Celtic first, and then work next. I don't, because I think that's the way. Oh, always my wife. That's without a doubt. I think Mary's afraid of what's going to happen next year. She's like, really, you really don't know what to do yourself. No, really. I start my day that way. I think I'll be a little bit lost in the beginning. Somehow I'll figure out what to do with it. But look, some of you guys are going on. You have to stay in touch with me. Whether you're playing in college or not in college, I want to hear what you're doing. Like Dom said, on your flip phone, you can get Twitter, so any kind of social media you need. We can keep in touch, Instagram. But listen, I can't thank you enough. From the guys that started in the beginning, guys like Drew, Christian, Brandon Rose, Stack, all these guys, I can't thank you enough. I didn't know where a decade later that we'd be standing here together, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hey, Dom, you want to take over the slurry?
I just want to finish the soccer ball.
Oh, can I finish one? Can I just say?
Mary,
All right,
she's got to go Celtic!
By the way, Mary and I are married.
No, I just want to say, no, like this last 2 years, I haven't been as involved as I have been other years.
Go
And
Celtic!
I know I have 4 children, but I think Tony has 22 because when these boys do well, Tony's as proud as that. Last year I thought we'd lose him. Christian was gone and Stack was gone, and he's like, I gotta go to the graduation. I have to do it. Like, he wanted to be there with them all the time. So this year I know a lot of the boys don't know me. I haven't been around as much, but I don't know if I hope you feel lucky to be blessed to have him as a coach and as a friend and as a mentor. And I know even with Adam and Holly and hosting parties, and so good to see Shari and Brandon here, and just all of you as a group of people. Like, we really do regard you as family, and I know a lot of family events, we're always juggling and shuffling, but Celtic has really been a priority for us, and I feel with many of you it's been the same. And I know as the team gets older, it was more like the dad's going now, not so much the moms and the dads in the family. And I know when the aunts were going and they had the little girls, and Dom was like,
Dom, Kim's not going, you don't need to go.
oh no, they didn't want the women there. So, you know, Adam would come over and Dom would come over and they'd say, oh, you know, Joanne's sister drew us this picture and we're not used to, they didn't want any women there. And little girls are okay, but they didn't want anything. But sincerely, thank you very much for always being like a family and being so respectful to Tony and really making the last 10 years a great experience for our family.
Thank you very much.
It's either go Celtic or go Drew.
Yeah, go Joe.
All right, guys, real quick, don't forget to sign the soccer ball. We had a pen issue, but I brought out the marker.
We're gonna watch
So
it.
inside you can do that. And if you guys are gonna go inside with Coach Tony to watch the DVD, Justin will